Healthy skin, in my opinion, is a combination of different factors: diet, lifestyle, and skincare. In today's video, we're kickstarting a two-part skincare series. Today, we're going to talk about diet and nutrition. These are all things that I do, and they're all science-backed. And in next week's video, we're going to talk about lifestyle and skincare. If that's something that piques your interest, keep watching. Hello, welcome back to The Whole Happy Life. My name is Ria and I'm a holistic nutritionist with an applied science background. So I wanted to provide some context before we get into the tips, but if you would like to go straight to the tips, you can do that. So I've received a number of requests in the last 2 months about doing a skincare routine, talking about products that I use, but I didn't want to do that because although I think skincare is important, I think it's a small piece of the puzzle. A bigger piece of the puzzle is what you eat and your lifestyle. And honestly, my skin didn't change until I started to change the way I eat. Before my wedding, I spent close to $1,000. I'm not proud of this. $1,000 on microdermabrasion treatments, on serums to get the bridal glowing skin. And you know what? It didn't happen. Because I didn't change the way I eat, I was just focusing on the problem externally and not internally. Now that I've changed the way I eat, I have much better skin than I used to. I'm not genetically blessed with good skin. I really have to work on it. I will still have days when I break out. I will still have days when things are a little bit irritated, and that could be because of stress. It could be because I probably wasn't eating as well as I thought I was eating. And you know what? That's okay. I don't think anyone can have perfect skin all the time, and there's no such thing as perfect skin. So don't beat yourself up if you're struggling with skin issues. Just try your best and don't stress about it. I think when we're stressed about it, it becomes worse. All right, so now that I've talked about the context, let's dive into the tips. The tips will be mainly for reducing things like redness, to reduce premature aging, and for reducing acne. Tip number 0, or the base tip as I like to call it, is to eat a healthy and balanced diet consistently. So I didn't even want to mention this as a tip. That's why I'm calling it tip number 0, because we all know we need to do that. We all know we need to eat a healthy diet for good skin. But it was worth mentioning because that is the foundation for the rest of the tips. If you're not eating a healthy diet consistently, none of the other tips that I'm going to provide you in this video make any sense to do on their own. Nutrition is not about just doing one thing. There's no one particular nutrient. There's no one particular magic cure for your skin. It's about doing things in conjunction with each other. So what is a healthy diet? That is a $1 million question. We can all do different diets and still have healthy skin, because honestly, there is no one size fits all approach when it comes to nutrition. You could be vegan, you could be pescatarian, you could be paleo, it doesn't matter. You can all have good skin. The thing that I think that makes the most difference is to stick to a diet which is predominantly whole foods or minimally processed foods. So take out those ultra processed foods, take out the foods that don't have much nutrition. And if you're interested in learning more about why processed foods are not so good for you, I do have a video on it. Tip number 1 is to reduce the amount of refined sugar you eat. There is a link in the science between sugar, excess sugar, and things like skin wrinkling, skin sagging, premature aging. And let me tell you, I think a lot of the wrinkles that I do have, especially the smile lines, probably are the result of eating a lot of sugar. I've had them for quite some time. I used to be a sugar addict. Now, I can't reverse the damage that I've done, but at least I can prevent more damage from happening. So what is it about the sugar that causes problems? So there is a process called glycation that happens. So when there's extra sugar molecules, they attach to the collagen in your skin and they make that collagen stiff and less elastic. So your skin loses its firmness, it starts to sag, and then we have wrinkles. So if you want to prevent wrinkles and you want to keep your skin healthy long term, it's a good idea to reduce the refined sugar. If you're interested in learning more about how to reduce refined sugar, I do have a video on it. Tip number 2 is to avoid or limit high glycemic foods. So what is a high glycemic food? A high glycemic food is a food that will raise your blood sugar very quickly. If you're interested in learning more about high glycemic foods, I have a lot of information in the description. So examples of high glycemic foods include cakes, cookies, crackers, instant oats, white bread, rice cakes, things like that. So it's a good idea to reduce the consumption of these because there is a link in the science between high glycemic foods and acne. And I also feel that this actually does make sense because when I eat more of these foods, when I eat more processed carbohydrates that raise my blood sugar very quickly, I do tend to break out more. So if you're having issues with breakouts and you want to reduce them, it's a good idea to stick to low glycemic foods and medium glycemic foods, such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains. I'll have a detailed list in the description. Tip number 3 is to eat enough protein and vitamin C. Now, if you're eating a balanced diet, you probably are getting enough protein and vitamin C, but I still wanted to mention some special considerations. So first of all, why is protein and vitamin C important? Well, both of them are building blocks for collagen, and your skin is made out of collagen. So if you want to have healthy skin, you need to get enough protein and vitamin C. Now, let's tackle protein first. So in terms of the protein, if you're eating a balanced diet and you're eating enough calories, you probably are getting enough protein. But let's say you're on a calorie restricted diet, if you're trying to lose weight, make sure you're getting enough protein. Because if you're on a calorie restricted diet, depending on how many calories you eat, you could be under eating the protein. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is if you're eating a diet where you're eliminating a lot of food groups, let's say you're allergic to a lot of food groups or you're eliminating them for other reasons, you could be under eating and that could result in not getting enough protein. Now let's tackle the vitamin C. So if you're eating enough fruits and veggies and a balance of them, you probably are getting enough vitamin C. But one important consideration is that when you are stressed, when you're going through periods of stress, your body actually uses up a lot more vitamin C than normal. So during that time, it's a good idea to eat more vitamin C. Tip number 4 is to eat enough omega-3 fatty acids. So why are omega-3 fatty acids important? Well, they manage oil production in your skin, they can help reduce inflammation, reduce acne, and premature aging. If you're not plant-based, you can get your omega-3 fatty acids from fish. I personally get it from fish, salmon, herring, mackerel. These are fatty fish that have a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. If you are plant-based, you have options too. I have a link in the description that actually explains all your different options. Now, I do recognize some people can't eat seeds. They tend to have issues with it. So in that case, you can take a supplement. There is an algae-based supplement, it's plant-based, that does have omega-3 fatty acids. So that could work for you if you have issues with nuts and seeds. Tip number 5 is to get enough fruits and veggies and to make sure you get a variety. So this kind of ties into the base tip, which was to eat a healthy diet. And to me, that means eating a lot of fruit and veggies. The amount of fruit and veggies you eat is totally personal, but I would suggest half a plate of fruit and veggie. That is the suggestion of a lot of nutrition organizations. You can find more information below. So when you're getting half a plate of fruit and veggie for every single meal, try to focus on getting a variety so you're not eating the same ones every single week, because when you're eating the same fruits and veggies all the time, you're getting exactly the same nutrients again and again. And it's a good idea to change it up because all different fruits and veggies have different vitamins, different minerals, and different phytochemicals. For example, something like watermelons have lycopene, and lycopene can help reduce sun damage. Something like onions will not have lycopene, they'll have something else. They have a compound in them that helps reduce scars. So it really is a good idea to get a variety so you get a variety of different nutrients. Tip number 6 is to get enough zinc. So I don't really like to talk about specific nutrients and skin because it's not like zinc will make your skin amazing. But I wanted to mention zinc specifically because there is a link between low levels of zinc and acne. So if you are struggling with acne and breakouts and scarring as well, then it might be related to zinc. I'm not saying it's definitely related to zinc, it just might be. So have a look at what you're eating and make sure you're getting enough zinc. Tip number 7 is to eat enough probiotics and prebiotics. It's really important for good gut health. And good digestion means we're going to have healthier skin. There is a link between that. Probiotics, in the simplest sense, are bacteria that are good for us. And prebiotics are the food for that bacteria. So if you were to just focus on the probiotics and not eat the prebiotics, you're not going to have that much of a benefit. It's important to get both. So in terms of probiotics, a lot of people recommend supplements. I think supplements do work for certain people, but I am a big believer in getting it from food first. And if that's not helping, then try a supplement. So in terms of food, a couple options are things like sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt, it can be plant-based or dairy depending on what works for you. And in terms of prebiotics, there are a lot of foods that have prebiotics. Prebiotics are basically types of fibers that your gut bacteria feeds on. So things like garlic, onions, asparagus, apples, oats, all of these have prebiotics. Tip number 8 is to reduce dairy and see how it goes. I was almost not going to include this tip in this video because it's not based on concrete scientific evidence, but there is some preliminary evidence in the last 2 or 3 years that shows that high dairy consumptions are linked to increases in acne. And I personally do find this to be the case. A lot of things about nutrition are about trying them on yourself because every single person is so different. So there's no one size fits all approach. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it informative. If you did, give it a thumbs up so I know to create more content like this. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you get the notification for next week's video, which will be about lifestyle and skincare. I will see you in the next video. Bye!